Wealth Tracker.
Welcome to the Wealth Tracker, where we dive into the uncharted territories of niche investment strategies that promise to redefine wealth. Hello, I'm Hongbin Jeong. Now, a stampede of new investors hoovered up Bitcoin at lofty prices as crypto fever ran high after Donald Trump swept to victory in the November U.S. presidential election. Now, barely 6 weeks after Trump was inaugurated, Bitcoin has plummeted, drained by a sell-off in global stocks. Just weeks after hitting a six-figure all-time high, the largest cryptocurrency is now trading at around $80,000, down nearly a quarter from its January peak. So are we now at a bear market, or is it just a bumpy downtrend waiting to spike back up? Well, to find out more, joining me now is Valentin Fournier, who's a digital asset analyst at BRN. Valentin, welcome back to the show.
I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Valentin, for crypto markets, the answer appears, at least for the past few days, to be down. The price of Bitcoin and other popular digital assets, they have plummeted. So are bears taking control of the market? Are we currently heading towards a bear market, or are we already in one?
Well, the market is definitely shaky right now. Bitcoin and other cryptos have taken a big hit. Institutional flows have clearly slowed down to the point that has got people wondering if the bears are taking over. But we should not jump to conclusions just yet, because many strong catalysts are still expected, especially from the U.S. government, whether it is from a regulatory point of view or from the National Reserve. What we saw in the market is highly likely just a natural cool down after a very strong run, like in every bull market that we had in the past, even though it could be something bigger. So the key thing will be to watch whether we hold the major support levels, and if expected catalysts actually pan out, Bitcoin could keep sliding with no strong buying interest.
I see.
And that would definitely lead to a deeper downturn.
Right. Well, who's selling Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies at the moment? Is it the retail investors, the miners, or the institutional investors?
So it is definitely a mix of players. So some retail investors, especially those who bought at higher price levels, are now panic selling, especially those who lack experience in the crypto investments. Some other investors took profit at ATH or when momentum slowed down. And miners do have a steady offload of Bitcoin no matter what. So this is not alarming in any way, but they still keep selling more Bitcoin. And then finally, we saw institutionals let go over $5 billion of Bitcoin through ETFs over the last month. So it is not just one group selling Bitcoin, and mostly like a combination of them, and also declining demand that drove the price down.
I see. Well, you mentioned panic selling there. How do you think investor sentiment is being impacted by the current volatility? Are investors showing signs of capitulation, or are they still optimistic about the market's future?
Volatility decreased over the last week. Investor sentiment definitely shifted from extreme greed at Trump's inauguration to extreme fear after this correction. Generally, when market gets tougher and shows more volatility, staying invested is mentally hard, no matter how many positive catalysts are waiting to push the market up. And market correction often amplify themselves by leading to more investors selling as they fear others will sell before them and leave them with a worthless bag of currency. However, another way to see this volatility is as an opportunity for investors to take better entry points before the bull run resumes.
I see. Well, a stampede of new investors, they hoovered up Bitcoin at lofty prices as crypto fever ran high after Trump swept to victory in the November U.S. presidential election. So you talked about that shift of sentiment there earlier on. Are we then no longer seeing a Trump hype surrounding cryptocurrencies?
Investors' expectations were extremely high. Trump's actions toward cryptos were definitely slower than expected. Actions took on the regulation side of the things are likely to take months before coming into effect. The Bitcoin National Reserve, having been announced a few weeks ago, does not yet have a clear plan for accumulation, which is what investors were really looking for.
Right.
However, on the plus side, Trump really showed a pro-crypto stance, and every move made was made in the right direction. The moves were made at a slower pace than imagined and in a less radical way. Many investors expected Trump to take stronger and sharper decisions at a very quick pace, but the priorities of the newly elected president were different. So the hype has certainly faded, and the market strongly corrected. But the strong catalysts that we were mentioning last time we're here are really intact with National Bitcoin Reserve, the new regulations that are on the way. Trump election overall is still very bullish for crypto. I think it's a good time to accumulate more Bitcoin.
I see. Well, how do you think the current downtrend is also, influencing the adoption and perception of cryptocurrencies among institutional investors, governments, and the general public?
So investors, especially retail, cryptos as an extremely volatile asset. Some of them only ever try to buy when they see that the market saw a massive rally.
Right.
And this leads to them purchasing in your local tops. And that leads to a large amount of cryptocurrencies being panic sold at the next correction. And that leaves them with a bittersweet experience of the crypto investments. In the bigger picture, crypto adoption is definitely moving forward for both retail and institutional investors. The global perception of cryptocurrencies is massively improving, with institutionals entering the game, selling Bitcoin themselves, and showing confidence in its potential, rather than saying it will go to zero and amplify the fear induced by every dip.
I see. Well, Bitcoin, it hit a record high of $109,071 back in January. But, of course, it has since lost most of the gains racked up since the U.S. election. And that's us concerns about U.S. tariff policy, the health of the world's, largest economy, and a tech sell-off risk appetite. How do these factors, particularly the tariffs here, Valentin, have an impact on cryptocurrencies?
So a strong economy is generally very good for riskier assets like Bitcoin. But now with what we see with the trade war and the tariffs, that would slow down growth. And in these situations, investors tend to play it more safe. So they move into cash, gold, or government bonds instead of crypto. But the flip side of these economic concerns is that it could lead to looser monetary policies, like lower interest rates and more money printing to stimulate the economy. And Bitcoin would greatly benefit from that.
Right.
So it will all depend on how the global financial system responds.
I see. Well, do you see any recovery in cryptocurrencies coming soon, or is this another crypto winter?
It is definitely too early to say we entered a crypto winter because there was no breakdown, no event leading to a systemic risk. Basically, only disappointed expectations. So we consider this downward trend as a period of correction after the massive price surge that followed the recent elections. We see the current period around the 80 to 85,000 as an accumulation period with favorable entry points for investors and a limited downside risk. And we expect the market to progressively recover before making attempts to new highs. The recovery will ultimately be decided by strong catalysts coming from the USA or other countries pushing favorable regulations on their own Bitcoin reserves.
I see. Well, you did mention that this is a mere correction. If that's the case, what factors could boost crypto prices?
There are a few factors. The biggest one definitely would be the National Bitcoin Reserves. So the USA could come up with a budget-neutral way to accumulate Bitcoin, whether it is through selling gold or issue bonds. And other countries could follow their lead and start accumulating, which would create a massive fear of missing out for everyone. And this is really the main catalyst of the current bull market and macroeconomic shifts. So with what we're seeing with the economy slowing down, the inflation coming down too, central banks could ease up on interest rates, and that could bring a lot of money back into crypto and institutional buying. We're trying to see if the big players, the whales and big institutionals, we want to see if they start buying the dip. That would restore confidence in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies very quickly. And the last one would be the regulatory clarity, with governments already working on clearer regulations that would help companies innovate and deliver more value.
I see. Well, then, despite the current bumpy downtrend, Valentin, are you still optimistic about the long-term growth potential of the crypto markets?
Absolutely, yes. So short-term volatility is part of the game. We know it, but long-term crypto is here to stay. And we're seeing more institutional adoption, more real-world use case, and a continued innovation in blockchain technology. So the key is to zoom out. Crypto has been through multiple cycles of boom and bust, but the overall trend is still up. I think we are at a key moment where institutions and countries are changing their minds And they also are seeing their hands forced basically to adopt cryptos and decentralized finance to survive and not stay behind.
I see. Well, with the current volatility then, what are some risks investors should take note of and how should they mitigate these risks?
Yeah, volatility is always a risk in crypto. But right now, here are the big risks that we must pay attention to. So the first one would be macroeconomic factors. If the global economy struggles, cryptos can definitely take a hit. We saw a recent example of that with the downfall of NASDAQ and S&P 500, which led to a sell-off of risky assets to purchase more bonds and more gold. And the regulations, if governments start introducing stricter rules, that could also impact the price of digital assets. Then security risks, the scams, the hacks, and custody issues can lead to large losses, especially for individuals. And then leverage. Many people are trading on margin, and that can lead to cascading liquidations.
I see. And finally, before we let you go here, Valentin, what else will you be looking out for in the coming weeks that could move crypto prices?
So we are definitely watching the key support levels that Bitcoin is still holding on for now. If it breaks down below these levels, we could see a sharper correction, which would lead to other great entry points, but also like potential losses on the short term. We're also watching on-chain activity, especially the long-term holders and the whales. For now, they keep accumulating during the sell-off, which is a good sign. And institutional flows, the hedge funds, asset managers, and institutionals. The trend we saw in the recent weeks was that the ETF purchases were going down, and we saw major outflows that could recover as new catalysts hit the market. And then following regulatory news, we expect altcoin ETFs to progressively be more accepted. So Solana, eventually XRP, and even SWI that has been submitted recently, because these ETF acceptations could potentially strengthen and channel the capital allocation to a very limited number of assets, and these assets would be the selected winners of this movement, and they could see a massive growth.
I see. Well, thank you so much, Valentin, for your time and your insights today.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. That was Valentin Fournier, who is a digital asset analyst at BRN. This has been the Wealth Tracker with me, Hongbin Jeong.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance. To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.